Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. This one is gonna be a fun one. I saw the trend on TikTok. Jay posted the Lego yourself thing and it's absolutely amazing. Yesterday I tried to hack a way into doing it. I think he will open source his as well, and his is gonna be a lot better, but I wanted to make a video before he does that, just so I can see if I can do it. Okay, so the concept is gonna be similar but a bit different. Okay, so I'm gonna upload this picture of my cute cat, and then when we hit upload, nice. So what's different? I want to do a sort of a zombie type Lego scenario based on the original image that a person sent. It's funny that every time I tested this, it always picks up the ball. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Let's start building. Let's do a pm install. And as we move on, then we're gonna be installing the other dependencies as well. Yeah, I need to start the dev server. Perfect. We have a empty slate. We have a blank slate. Let's start doing it. We're gonna be needing some stuff from ShadCN, the button and the input. Those are gonna be the only two components that we're gonna be using. We're gonna be using Formidable, so we can actually parse the form that data that we send from the front end. We're gonna be needing the OpenAI package. And if I'm not mistaken, this is all that we're gonna be needing. Actually, you know what? Let's do this with React Query. Install 10 stack. Let's do it here. Installation React Query. Alright, let's first set up React Query. I want to do this a bit differently. I want to have the mutation, so then in our final stuff, then we can actually have everything we need, so we can have a loading state as well. Like I said before, Jay on Twitter actually done this project, and he's done it remarkable. A really cool effect when the image is loading. Yeah, it's like a X-ray scan. So if he open sources his, then probably his one is gonna be a lot better than mine, but I'm just doing this out of fun. And I think now we have React Query active, and I found a really cool font on Google Fonts that works pretty nicely with this one, and I think it's called Bungee Spice. So we're gonna replace this with this one, And then this wants a weight as well, and we're gonna give it a weight of 400. In components, I'm gonna replace this navbar with zombie Lego yourself. And then in the class name, I'm gonna give it flex, item center, justify center, text 6XL. I think this works. Nice. Perfect. In the index file, I'm gonna be doing again a flex, items center, justify center, height of 70, dynamic viewport height. And now we have everything nice and in the middle. Everything is gonna happen inside a form, so we need to actually do a form. Yeah, I think this works. And then we're gonna have an input, and it's gonna be a type of file. And let's close this tag as well. Nice. And accept image. That's good. And we're gonna have a button, and that's gonna be a type of submit. And let's align this at the start. And let's give a gap of 4. Yeah, I think this works. Then we want to see a preview of the images, so I prepared a placeholder image. I just googled one from the first one that popped on Google, and it's gonna be a div. It's gonna be a flex row, flex row, gap 8. Okay, and I'm gonna be using JK placeholder image.jpg. Okay, and we need to give this one a flex call, so we have it in here. And I want the size of these images to be size 250 pixels, so they're not gonna be too big. And I think we could do 250, and like that we can actually preserve the ratio. We're gonna be having 2 images. One of the image is going to be the actual image that we upload, and the second image is going to be the image that we take back. I want to upload them to have them displayed like this, so we're not gonna have any sort of layout shifts when we actually start doing something. Let's first take care of seeing what image we upload, and we can do that with handle input change, and it's gonna be a change event. And then we want to read the file, if there is no file we want to return. This is to keep the TypeScript happy. And then let's do this here. Const uploaded image set uploaded image react. Let's import react, and then this is going to be a string, and initially this is gonna be undefined. So the handle input change, and then we're gonna use the file reader, and on load, when it reads the actual file, then we can we're gonna be reading the actual file as a data URL, and then when this finishes up loading, we're gonna set the uploaded file on our state. And then to use this, all we need to do is either we have an uploaded image, either we use the placeholder, just to test it out to see that everything works. And it doesn't work, of course, because we didn't handle the input change. Let's refresh this, and now this is my cat. Nice. Perfect. Now, because I said I wanted to use TestStack query, so the React query library, we're gonna have to create a mutation. So this mutation is gonna just send the file on the API route. So this one I haven't really rehearsed, so let's hope it's gonna turn out alright. Const image upload mutation is use mutation, and then we have the mutation function, and it's going to take form data, okay, this works, and this mutation actually returns data, error, and is loading. So basically with this, we're gonna be having all the error handling, error checking, error everything easily accessible to us. Then we're gonna be creating a function of handle submit, and it's gonna be exactly this one. So we're gonna be preventing the default, so when we click upload, it's not gonna refresh the page. If there is no image, if there is no uploaded image, that's why you need to check what Copilot gives you, you know? But in this scenario, it was actually, it's an, let's say, okay check. Name equals image, and let's disable for the entire file because I don't want to use next image, and you're gonna see in about a second why. No, I don't want to do this. I want to take the form data, and that's all I need from it. And then I want to do mutate, and then I want to mutate and pass it the form data. Yeah, I think I think this is right. So let's do a dry run to see what's happening. If I click upload, of course I need to put the submit handler. And then if we click on upload, we're gonna see that something is happening here, and then we get an error because the actual route does not exist. Okay, perfect. Now we will need to install Formidable, and I think that's all that we need to install for this. And we're going to need to install the OpenAI package. And I'm gonna be copying my env file, which is nice. In the API route, let's rename this upload. Let's remove all the unnecessary stuff. Then we want to disable the body parser, so export const config API and body parser, we're gonna be putting this to false. We need to import fs, we need to import Formidable, and file and incoming form from Formidable. We also need to install Formidable types, because if we don't, then we're not gonna have any sort of types for this one, and it's gonna complain all along. Then we need to initialize after importing OpenAI. We need to initialize it, and sometimes Copilot knows and sometimes it doesn't. This time it didn't. In the API handler, we need to handle the form. Because the form parser, it's actually, this is actually a synchronous operation, asynchronous operation. It's not gonna wait for this to complete. So everything, if you have a fetch function or anything in this, is not actually going to await the completion API. So in order to handle this, we need to wrap this parser in a promise. And we want to await a new promise. And in order to do this, in order for us to do this, we need to make this function asynchronous. And we're gonna await a new promise with the resolve and the reject. And Copilot guessed it, we need to return these fields and those files. Actually, we don't really need the fields because we only have one, but for the sake of this exercise, we're gonna take it. Then we need to take the file, and the actual file is form data.files.image, and it comes up as an array. So we need to take the first one and we need to coerce it into being an actual file and not a file array or stuff like this. Then we need to convert it into a base64 image so we can send it up to the OpenAI API GPT-4 Vision model. And it's going to be a fs read file sync, and then we're going to be giving it the file.file path and then base64. This is the first error handling that we're gonna be doing. So if we don't have a base64 image, we want to send a 400 response and give it a no image provided. This is actually going to help us when in our actual React query error thingy. Then now that we have this, we can actually do the completion API. So const description response is gonna be an openai.chat.completions.create, and the model that we're gonna be using, it's actually going to be the GPT-4 Vision preview. And then I'm not really a big fan of this syntax that they're using, that we need to do everything in an array, but yeah, it is what it is. The content, again, it's an array, and we have type text, and the actual text, it's going to be this. I don't want to waste time doing this. So describe this image as best as possible, take in consideration all details and make the scenery and the character a bit more like in a zombie apocalypse world, but still keeping the essence. Just return back the description of the image, the zombie apocalypse world, based on the image and nothing else. I had to do this because if not, first it would have described the image and then it would have told me how can this image be more of a zombie apocalypse. So yeah. And then the second part of this is going to be the image URL, and for this one we have the image URL, which is going to be this. I'm just gonna copy this one. It actually almost got it right, but not really. And it's base64 image. Now that we have this is going to be returning a description response. We only want to get the description, so const description is gonna be description response dot choices. We're gonna be taking the first one, dot message dot content, and in order for everything to be working alright, we're gonna be giving it a max tokens of 4000. It's not gonna be using that much, but it's better to have the option to have more than not enough, at least from my experience. Now again, we can check if there is no description. something went wrong with the API call. Easy. Now, all these image generators, or at least what I found about them, that make something look alike, they actually just create a description of the thing that you uploaded, and then basically that's the prompt for Dall-E 3 of what to do with this. So const image is await OpenAI dot images dot generate, and then the model is gonna be Dall-E 3, and the prompt, it's actually going to be this. So we want to generate a Lego-like character based on this description. Then if there is no image, again we want to send in an error, and if everything is fine, then we want to send the image dot data 0 dot URL. We only have one image generated, so we don't need more than that. So in the response it's only going to be the actual image. Back to the form data, we have here the data error is loading and the mutate. This triggers and sends out the form data. This is gonna be our response, and now we can do some stuff with it. Loader to icon, and spin. And now with this one we have a loading animation if something actually does happen. And let's give it the text orange 500 so it matches the actual thing. Apple 4, I think it's a bit too big, and is nice. And what we need to do for this one, so if it's not loading, we don't actually want to show this, so hidden not is loading, so that's perfect. Then the actual data, let's name it properly. It's gonna be the image URL, and the same thing as we did in the placeholder. If we have an image URL, use that. If not, use the placeholder. We're not gonna be taking care of it, and see if we can get back something. As we can see now, we actually do get the images and everything. The post is still running, so that's nice. We do have a loading animation, so the mutation is actually doing something. Because we are doing the GPT-4 requests, I think this is going to be taking a bit longer than a GPT 3.5 or even a GPT-4. And now we got back our response, which is quite nice, and it works. Now, just to give it a bit more, let's say, style, I have a background here that I used. I actually used it directly with CSS. I didn't create custom things in actual Tailwind. And in the layout, we need to remove this BG background, so it's not gonna be overwriting this. And yeah, this is the project. I don't know how long it took. I think because of my errors and everything, it took maybe a bit longer than it should have. But at the end of the day, it is a cool little project that you can do, and I think with a nicer UI and nicer everything, yeah, it has a potential to be a really cool stuff you can show your friends or whoever you want.